Welcome to the Null Hypothesis Podcast. Welcome to the Science First YouTube channel. As a science communicator on YouTube, it's only a matter of time before I have to talk about flat earth and flat earth belief and flat earth debunking. I happen to have noticed that discussions between flat earthers and flat earth debunkers on this platform have become particularly toxic. Explaining why flat earth ideas are erroneous is vital, of course, and as I started my SciComm career as a hobbyist debunking things like ghost hunting, I'm hardly in a position to criticise debunking as a concept. But if you investigate this flat earth debunking community further, you start to notice something. That's videos with over-combative and insulting titles, claiming flat earthers or flirfs are dumb fucks, dumbasses, or flatards, which obviously I don't have to explain the root word of that insult. It's quite disgusting that it's used so often. These debates that cover the topics, they're often described as dumpster fires or ponage sessions. They normally descend into shouting, screaming matches with heated insults flying from both sides. Live chats filled with, anything but impartial audience members who want to pay to have super chats, often containing insults and abusive messages read out on air. In fact, the approach taken by flat earth debunkers on YouTube is referenced in a new article by David Westmoreland and Conor McCormick in a recent edition of New Scientist. They argue that the flat earth debunking community on YouTube is demonising and dehumanising flat earthers. One of the most compelling things I found about this opinion piece by two actual scientists and science communicators is that they've discovered flat earthers or flirfs are actually far from stupid. In fact, they're not science illiterate either. Reading from the article, it isn't that they are ignorant about science, certainly not. Compared with the average citizen, the Pew Research Center recently reported that people in the US scored an average of 6.7 out of 11 on a multiple-choice science quiz. We gave it to our flat earth friends. Their average score was 10. So what is the problem? McCormick and Westmoreland continue. They question everything about mainstream science. Flat earthing is like buying an internet service. It comes with optional extras: denial of gravity, anti-vaccination allegiance, rejection of Albert Einstein's theories of relativity. People bundle, picking and choosing the package they like the best. Some of this is commendable. The questioning attitude is, after all, a distinctive mark of rationality and central to the empirical process. Flat earth activists stand out amongst science deniers in setting up instruments, taking measurements, and sharing results. So the problem is that when they do this, when they conduct their own experiments, they usually don't do it accurately or well. Certainly they don't respect elements of science such as replication and peer review. They want to claim the positive aspects of science, the credibility, without actually doing any of the groundwork. So there are a few ways of tackling the idea that debating flat Earth on YouTube has become something of a waste of time. First of all, we've got to ask ourselves, is flat Earth belief a major problem? How does it compare to other pseudoscientific beliefs in terms of both popularity and potential harm? Then we've got to assess, are there more pressing issues that science advocates and communicators should be discussing and bringing to public attention? Finally, we have to ask ourselves, is debating flat Earth and these debunking flat Earth videos actually part of the problem? To begin, let's take a quote from Sir Robert May, President of the Royal Society between 2000 and 2005. When he was asked why he wouldn't debate a creationist, May said, "That would look great on your CV, not so good on mine." The quote's been popularised by Richard Dawkins, who added, "Would you, if you were a geographer, agree to have a debate with a flat earther? There comes a point where you have to say you are, by agreeing to appear on a platform with somebody like that, you are giving them status." It's my contention that continuing a debate back and forth with flat earthers means that YouTube science advocates are actually helping bring attention to flat earth nonsense. If you doubt that, let me quote a CNN article which featured an interview with Robbie Davidson, the founder of a flat earth conference held in Dallas during 2018. On his plans to expand flat earth belief, Davidson said, "The next stage is to debate leading members of the scientific community. But they just laugh at us and say, you guys are dumb." The problem is that YouTube science advocates are more than happy to fill this void. This, I contend, keeps flat earth beliefs more prominent on YouTube than in society at large. Case in point, while flat earth videos on YouTube regularly get hundreds of thousands of views, Davidson's conference only managed to draw 600 attendees. In truth, there's no way to tell just how many people watching these videos actually believe the flat earth argument. The numbers are likely highly inflated by audience members who want to laugh at flat earthers and people that have been sent there by flat earth debunking videos, or the considerable amount of drama and disputes that are generated by both sides of the discussion. Of course, the truth is, it doesn't really matter to flat earthers. They'll happily point to these inflated numbers and state that this is proof that flat earth belief is on the rise. Thus, feeding these channels helps them appear to have some credibility. It plays right into the flat earthers' hands. To see how common flat earth belief is away from the very insular world of YouTube, Westmoreland and McCormick argue there are 3 million flat earthers in the US alone. That's under 1% of the total US population. A 2018 YouGov poll of over 8,000 people in the US suggested that actually 2% of people surveyed stated they believed the Earth was flat. The same poll suggested that flat Earth belief is intrinsically tied to strong religiosity, with 52% of flat Earth believers surveyed stating that they hold strong religious beliefs. That's in comparison to 20% of the general US population that hold strong that don't hold strong religious beliefs. Whilst the figure of 2% is disappointingly high, and the idea that 3 million people in the world, never mind one country, believe the Earth is flat, is shocking and, as I said, disappointing. But let's compare that to belief in other elements of pseudoscience. In a 2018 paper published in the journal Science and Education, James A. Wilson surveyed students at the University of Nebraska. Some of his findings put this 2% maximum belief in flat Earth into stark perspective. Of the respondents, 18.5 thought the number 13 was unlucky. 38.3 believed in black magic or voodoo and believed it could affect a person's life. 42.1% believed in mediumship and contact with the dead. 43.8% believed alternative medicines are effective. 29.6% believed in witchcraft. 20.5% believed the chupacabra kills livestock in Mexico. 48.5% believed the devil is real and can possess people. And finally, 22.3% believed in Bigfoot. So that means that over 10 times as many people who believe in flat earth believe in the chupacabra. 11 times the people that believe in flat earth believe that yetis exist. And 24 times the number of people that believe the earth is flat believe the devil exists and possesses people. If the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to persuade the world he doesn't exist, he really should have been a flat earther. This survey highlights that the underlying problem with flat earth belief is a failure of critical thinking. We are not going to combat such failures by shouting dumbass at flat earthers and repeating the same debunkings over and over again. In fact, such an approach has been shown to have an adverse effect and result in flat earth believers doubling down. This is a well-known phenomenon in psychology known as the backfire effect. It's first detailed in a 2010 paper by Nyhan and Reifler. In a 2016 paper on the backfire effect, Thomas Woods adds that rather than simply ignoring factual information, presenting respondents with facts can compound their ignorance. I feel much of this is to do with the way those facts are presented. YouTube, flat earth debunking and belief has become very tribalistic. Therefore, it enforces the idea of us versus them. It means that the side presenting accurate scientific information isn't being listened to. It also casts aspersions on people who genuinely want to inform people of the scientific consensus regarding the shape of the earth and other more important things like the effectiveness of vaccines or traditional medical treatments. By continuing to shout dumbass at people, flat earth debunkers are actually harming attempts to accurately convey and inform the general public about science. They foster distrust. So, how do we combat this? We could teach flat earthers not what to think, but how to think. In his book, Down the Rabbit Hole, Mick West of Metabunk details a plan of action of how to approach people with information in such a way that it's likely to sway their minds. Unsurprisingly, this doesn't involve poning them in online debates. McCormick and Westmoreland go further than Mick West. They suggest that science advocates should track down their local flat earth group, meet up with them, show them that not all scientists, science communicators and science advocates are elitists waiting to ridicule and dismiss them. Show them that we can listen with respect and compassion. If we're not talking about flat earth and still want to advocate for science, what could we be doing instead? And in his 1995 magnum opus, Demon Haunted World, Science is a Candle in the Dark, Carl Sagan argues we've arranged a global civilization in which the most crucial elements profoundly depend on science and technology. We've also arranged things so that almost no one understands science and technology. This is a prescription for disaster. We might get away with it for a while, but sooner or later this combustible mixture of ignorance and power is going to blow up in our faces. It's blowing up right now. Anti-vaccination propaganda is on the rise and costing lives. Plastic is filling our ocean, and microplastics are beginning to find their way into the food chain. Industry and the general public at large are dragging their heels to combat this. Global warming presents a clear and existential threat to our way of life. Yet the media still platforms anti-climate change denialists and lobbyists in the name of balance. We need science advocates more than ever, but we need them to focus on the areas in which ignorance and a lack of critical thinking are threatening our way of life, our children's way of life, and that of future generations. We don't need science advocates squabbling, insulting, engaging in intellectual posturing over people who have been left behind by science. And that's the issue here. It's the real reason that things like award ceremonies to name the dumbest flat earther of the year make me extremely uncomfortable. The fact is that it's us, the sceptical and scientific communities, advocates and activists, that have failed these people. We won't rectify our failing by acting like we're intellectually superior or posturing like children on YouTube. Thank you for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. I know that because we're on YouTube and it's really the home of flat earth debunking and flat earth dumpster fires, that a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Change my mind. I might be wrong. There are probably certain things that I'm definitely wrong about. Persuade me that I'm wrong. The ball's in your courts. Let's have a useful discussion about how maybe we can help flat earthers dismiss this this misapprehension of science that they have. So thanks a lot for listening, and I hope to interact with you in the comment section.